Shalom, Yashala. This is Shemai Warren coming from the Lions of Roar 12 Tribes class. Today's topic, we are so close. We are so close. We're going to go into Colossians chapter 3, verse 17, as we always do. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17, and whatsoever you do, a word or deed, do all by Shem, Mashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Heavenly Father Yahweh by him. All praise to the Heavenly Father Yahweh. Shem, Mashiach Yahushai, he is worthy to be praised for everything. The power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do all things through his son, Hamashiach Yahushai. Shem, Hamashiach Yahushai. So today's class again is called We Are So Close. We're going to go into Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. Let's start at verse 2. And the Most High answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth. The tables of this Bible. When you sit down and you start thumbing through the book, well, that's the table is your Bible. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, meaning a prophecy. But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. This prophecy is going to come to pass. All the things that we've been talking about all this time is going to come to pass as we have been seeing. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. Woe be to the rebellious children. Who are the rebellious children? The Israelites. Saith the Most High, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit. Meaning they're looking for the protection of another power, not the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That they may add sin to sin. No matter what power you go under, no matter what God you go to, whatever you do under that God, it's going to be sin. It's not going to be, thus saith the Most High Yahweh. It reads, they walked to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. This shadow of Egypt is not the same Egypt that we just read about in Exodus that comes way before this book. This is a new Egypt. This is a new spiritual Egypt, right? Israelites have this tendency to trust in the captivities that they've been in. This new captivity is the Mystery Babylon. This is the covering that most of our people look for, which is a form of protection. Verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Because if you look in New York, Washington, California, you go all over this globe, you're going to see remnants of the destroyed Egypt scattered abroad. You go to Rome, you go to France, you go to London, you're going to see remnants of the destroyed Egypt abroad. You're going to see temples restructured from Egypt in another country, in another city, in another state, okay, on another continent. So this is what he's talking about. We look for the shadow of Egypt. We got obelisks that are in Washington, D.C. that the Pentagon uses today. We have obelisks in Central Park. We have them in Golden State Park. We have them all over the place. Trans-American Building. We have them all over the place. It says they walked to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For his princes were at Zone, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of people that could not profit them, nor be in help, nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The burden of the beast of the south, into the land of trouble, anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper, the fiery flying serpent. Where is the south? We came from the south. We came from Africa. We came from Israel. We went to the lands of the north. When we got here, what did they do in our lands? They started mining the mountains. They started to dig and have some sort of an industry pulling up diamonds out of the ground. Okay, iron ore out of the ground. It says, they will carry their riches upon their shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. See that? For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose. They think they're helping us. They ain't helping us. They ain't helping us do anything. They're stealing from us. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to what? To sit still. Meaning that anything that we do to accomplish a goal, they always want to get in the muster of it. They want to get right in the middle of what we're doing. Slow us down, cause problems. Make us restructure it for them to fit their purpose and not our purpose. Verse 8, now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Most High. So the law of the Most High should be prevalent in this place, in Mystery Babylon. And then he goes and says the same thing he told Habakkuk in the book of Isaiah. Told him the same thing. Go write it on tables. Go write it in the book. Let's go to 2nd Ezra. Where's my Apocrypha? Go to 2nd Ezra 6 and 57. It reads, and now, O power, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, the Israelites, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thine only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? This is what we're all going through today. Today. Now, you can say it if you want to, but we know that funding is always given to them. Look at how the president gives money to Zelensky to go over to Ukraine. They're just giving money out like it's water. Now, when the COVID-19 hit, all those who were unemployed got some sort of a check or a handout or some food disbursement. Now, that's on a minor scale. Okay, that's on a minor scale. Now, just think on a larger scale where they're focused on one group of people to get that type of funding. Oh, yeah, they give funding out. The funding is not given to you. The funding is given to their own, to the elite's children. This is how they don't have to work. This is how they don't have to pay certain taxes like capital gains tax. This is how they get real estate. These are things that go on behind closed doors that you don't see. These are things where we have to get loans, where we have to go to school to get degrees and certificates in order to participate and still come up short. Whereas their children never have to do any of those things, never have to go to training, never have to have any kind of plans to achieve a goal in college, where they just get hand-me-downs and their friends. These are things that goes on in the land of Esau. and we're not part of that club. This is Psalms chapter 17, verse 13. Arise, O power, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, from men which are thy hand, O power, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hidden treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. That's what Esau does. He leaves it to his children and his children's children. That's why Ezra is saying what he's saying. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? How long is this going to go on? How long are we going to continue to be cheated in this society? Being taxed, prices raising up all the time, inflation, nonstop. Something's always got your name attached to it on somebody's table, where they come to you with some kind of charge or with some kind of fees. You're not an exempt individual. You're not exempt. Only they're exempt. That's what Ezra was talking about. Let's go back to Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2. And let's go to verse 3. Let's start at verse 4. It says, Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by what? By his faith. So whose soul is lifted up and not upright? It's talking about Esau and all his constituents. Yea, also being he transgressed by wine, he is proud. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. We have records with George Washington, the United States of America first president, bought a little girl for wine. Bought a little girl for wine. Did an exchange for liquor. That's biblical. That's in the prophecies. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. What did he give the natives to make them fall? What did he give us in the Africas to make us fall? Wine. Lies. Who enlargeth his desire as hell? What's the first thing they show some of these tribesmen now that they got cell phones and stuff? When they go into these tribes, they get the men together and they show them porn on their cell phones. They get the men addicted to watching explicit, X-rated videos of women performing sex. This is what they do today.
Villages take up to a week just to reach. In September, they were given access to high-speed internet, and this is a 2,000-member tribe that is deep in Brazil. Well, it appears that since September, things have not been going so well, according to the elders. It seems that many of the younger folks are now hooked, quote, on porn and on social media. Some of the quotes in here are just fantastic. So here's some of the elders who are talking. When it arrived, everyone was happy. But now things have gotten worse. Young people have gotten lazy because of the internet. They are learning the ways of the white people. This is what they do today. They say the Marubo are a very chaste tribe who
then the cigarettes come in, and then the wine come in, then the debauchery comes in, then the fighting, then the crimes,
men have been sharing porn in
rape and so forth.
Group chats, and have already observed more
who enlargeth his desire as hell. That's what it means. People are in a certain condition once sin comes in like that. A hellful condition. And is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all people, nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? Because he'll go and take the land. He'll find out what the herbs and oil and the sources of it, how it's made, what they do to create it, what they do to look for it. He pick up on all the little secrets. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, because you're not getting a prudent man when he comes. He puts thick clay. You see when men, and they got to go to a battle, they put all this thick clay on their faces. They got the hash marks. Esau's covering his whole body with lies. He's covering his whole body to be a chameleon among the people. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be for booties unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that covereth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house, by cutting off many peoples, and hast sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity, evil. This is what's being done all over the earth. Now you have other countries with nuclear missiles. They have the evil, and they know what this man is capable of, so now they're preparing to fight. They're stacking their missiles up against Esau and making allies with men who have like-minded minds. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra chapter 15. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 53. It reads, If thou hadst not always slain my chosen, exalting the stroke of thine hand, and saying over the dead when thou wast drunken, set forth the beauty of thy countenance. The reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense. He's going to receive double for all the wickedness he's done to us. Double. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Most High, even so shall the Most High do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. That's why I said we are so close for this devil to get payback. The time is near. The time is coming. Hold fast to what you have. If you got a few commandments in your body, hold fast to it. Chisel yourself every day to get better and better. Hold fast. That's going to be your life source. That's how you're going to get out of this wicked kingdom into the next new kingdom, a refreshing kingdom. It reads, verse 56, Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Most High, even so shall the Most High do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. Now this is going to come to pass, just like the book in Habakkuk said, the vision will come. Verse 57, Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. See, if you have an ear to hear what he's saying here, the sword comes in many degrees. The sword comes through what? Illnesses, diseases. The sword comes through pestilence. The sword comes through an actual weapon. The sword actually comes through people, unable to trust certain people. So the sword is coming for Esau. That's why he says in Revelation, let's go to Revelation 13:9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Now this offended many people when we used to teach this in the streets. Nobody wants to be at the end of this prophecy, especially so-called Edom. They don't want to be at the end of this prophecy. Ishmael too. All these nations who had the Israelites in captivity are going to pay. And this is the ear to hear. That's why it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. We just read that in 2nd Ezra. He just told you what's going to happen to their children. Let's go back to it. Let's read it again. 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 57. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy cities shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. He's telling you, he that hath an ear, let him hear. He that killeth with the sword shall be put to death by the sword. Now, at this point, I'm going to go through a couple of books. But one of the books we're going to go through is The Pearl of the Republic of the United States of America. Big ups to ADAWAN for bringing this out. I was able to purchase this book and go through it. And yeah, this is a good find. From The Pearl of the Republic of the United States of America. All right. And this was written by Percy Tilson Magon. His lifespan is from 1867 to 1947. Let me find out when this book was published. It was originally published in 1899 by Fleming H. Revell Company. Fleming H. Revell Company. So I'm going to go to page 179. On page 179 of this book, it reads, Now in this latter day, the Most High set the nation of the United States for a light in the world, that from and through it there should go forth to all the world the right principles of government, both concerning the relation of the state to the church, and the relation of the state to the citizens. As long as the United States held fast to these two principles, republicanism and Protestantism, government by the consent of the governed, and no interference by the civil magistrate in the things of the church. As long as the United States remained true to these things, she was impregnable in the rocky strength of her principles and convictions. But now the principles of Protestantism have been deserted, and the principles of republicanism are being deserted. The principles of Rome have invested the United States, and not but the abomination of desolation can possibly follow. So it's saying by these two things, people have forgotten the reasons why the United States was formed. And because of that, prophecy is going to come to pass where the abomination of desolation is going to kick in. That was prophesied in the book of Daniel and in the book of Matthew chapter 24 with Yahushua. The abomination of desolation through its deceitful laws. Because if you notice, all their laws keep changing. Their laws keep changing. It's not like the Most High's laws, which is perfect. He never has to amend anything. He never has to change anything. But all the laws in the world continue to change. Notice that? So we're going to go to page 25. And we're going to go from 24 to 25. Page 24. It says, in a speech delivered at Springfield, Illinois, June 26, 1857, we find the following noble defense of true principles. So remember that date. In those days, the days of the Revolution, our Declaration of Independence was held sacred by all and thought to include all. But now, to aid in making the bondage of the Negro universal and eternal, this was a law, a papal bull, so to speak, that went all over the world to make Negroes slaves. All over the world. This wasn't this way before. It is assailed and sneered at and construed and hawked at and torn till if its framers could rise from their grave, they could not at all recognize it. All the powers of earth seem rapidly combining against him. Read that again. All the powers of earth seem rapidly combining against him. This is prophecy, Deuteronomy Chapter 28. It said that we would be a proverb, a byword in all nations. Do I have to get that? Let's get it. Nobody else fits this prophecy but the Israelites. And now you're seeing why the name Israelites were taken out, so you couldn't identify who fits this prophecy. But through trial and error, you can figure out who it is. Deuteronomy Chapter 28, verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Most High rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Most High will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy father have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Most High shall give thee a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. That is a slave. That's a slave that's going to have those type of problems. Let's go back to the book. Now he said, all the powers of the earth seem rapidly combining against him. Mammon is after him. Remember, the Most High made this decree before heaven and earth. He testified before them that this will happen to the Israelites. And the Israelites, you're seeing who it is, who identifies with the Israelites that's been through these things, are the Negroes and Native Americans. All the power of the earth seem rapidly combining against him. Mammon is after him. Ambition follows, philosophy follows, and the theology of the day is fast joining the cry. The theology, that's these theology schools that's set up to not let you thrive, not let you make decisions. Because if you're in theology, you're part of church and state, meaning you have power within the state. You have power within the government. None of our people have power within the government being in these churches. Not even our bishops. They don't have any power of making laws. Any influence over the laws that's being made is not there. Influence over controlling us is there, but there's no influence of controlling the laws being passed in this country. They're all against us. It reads, they have him in his prison houses, the Israelites. They have searched his person and left no prying instrument with him. When we went into slavery, they took everything from us. Isaiah 42 and 22. Let's go there. Tell me what this says and tell me what you think. Who does this fit today? Isaiah 42, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are all hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. You see that? Again, he says, who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Most High, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Sounds like the Israelites to me. And it's specifying who these Israelites are. It's the Negroes. I read it again from the Pearl of the Republic of the United States of America. They have him in his prison house, that they have searched his person and left no prying instruments with him. One after another, they have closed the heavy iron doors upon him.
Where are we?
The matrix is structured like a building. It rests atop a foundation that is built upon a substructure. We're standing in a programmer's maintenance passage. It is how I escaped.
Escaped?
I have been held captive in a chateau in the mountains by an exile named the Merovingian. He imprisoned me for my keys.
You will find I lack the virtues of both tolerance and patience. Au travail.
But even he cannot keep me from playing my part in what will come. My purpose, I have seen, is entwined with your own.
What purpose?
It's a very special key, meant only for the One. Will you bring it to him?
What does it unlock?
The future. You must stop them. They'll ruin everything.
What is so important about that key?
The key is integral to the path of the One.
Why don't you just make another one?
Once it is used, it cannot be used again. They will bring about the end of everything.
And now they have him, as it were, bolted in with the lock of 100 keys. Listen to this. Which can never be unlocked without the concurrence of every key. The keys in the hands of 100 different men, and they scatter to 100 different and distant places. This is how locked up our minds are. 100 keys. We've been thrown in prison with someone having to engineer 100 keys to keep us in there. What are those so-called keys? Lies, doubt. As soon as you find the answer, another key comes and locks you up. No, that's not true what you're saying. No, that author, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So then you find another author to prove who you were in history, to prove that you were a Judean of antiquity. Oh, no, that author doesn't know what he's talking about from the 18th century, 17th century. Then you find another author, one that's subscribed by them, that's in their theology schools, one that is in the Library of Congress. Oh, what about him? He's saying that with his life. Oh, no, sir. You know what? These Negroes are getting a little close. Let's recalibrate all the keys. Let's recalibrate all the keys and the locks and scatter the keys again all over the world where he can't find them. That's what this is talking about. And they stand musing as to what invention in all the dominions of mind and matter can be produced to make the impossibility of his escape more complete than it is. It's impossible to this man. But just like the Willie Lynch letter, it said, in order for these Negroes to come out of this slumber, it's going to take a phenomenon for this to happen. What is that phenomenon? Hamashiach Yahushua. It's going to give us that spirit. Judge Douglas finds the Republicans insisting that the Declaration of Independence includes all men, black as well as white, which is a lie. And forthwith, he boldly denies that it includes Negroes at all, and proceeds to argue gravely that all who contend that it does do so only because they want to vote and eat and sleep and marry with the Negroes. So he's saying the only way this Negro could come in is to find a abolitionist who's going to liken himself to the Negro, who's going to show that this man is just like us because we like him that much that we'll even marry his women to prove a point. He will have it that they cannot be consistent else. Now I protest against the counterfeit logic which concludes that because I do not want a black woman for a slave, I must necessarily want her for a wife. I need not have her for either. So even with those who are trying to help save us, can't do it. They're saying no matter what, we're going to lie on them too. If they want to marry the black woman, if they want to be within the black community, we're going to deny them everything too if they wake up. I can just leave her alone. In some respects, she certainly is not my equal, but in her natural right to eat the bread she earns with her own hands without asking leave of anyone else, she is my equal and the equal of all others. Now, this is what a Caucasian man who's fighting for the rights of the Negroes, this is what he would say. And this is how those who are gainsaying against us would do him. They would label him as an outcast. It reads here, Chief Justice Taney, in his opinion in the Dred Scott case, right? He had education and all that. But this is what he's talking about. Chief Justice Taney, in his opinion in the Dred Scott case, admits that the language of the Declaration is broad enough to include the whole human family. But he and Judge Douglas argued that the authors of the instrument did not intend to include Negroes by the fact that they did not at once actually place them on the equality with the whites. Now, this grave argument comes to just nothing at all by the other fact that they did not at once or ever afterwards actually place all white people on the equality with one another. And this is the staple argument of both the Chief Justice and the Senator for doing this obvious violence to the plain, unmistakable language of the Declaration. So there's an argument, but the thing that really got me, the 100 key theory. Think about that, Negroes. This is why the scripture says, and the earth helped the woman. The earth helped the woman. Do what? Fight the lies. This book is called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. The reason why I choose this book for this class, although the Nation of Islam are praising a false god and pushing that false god throughout the world, their researchers did a pretty good job writing this book. This is volume 1. There's also another book, volume 2. It's red in color. They actually have some really good research in here. The only thing is they think that the Jewish people are the Jews when they're Khazars or Kaisers or Caesars. They are the Edomites. But the brothers in here don't have the wisdom or the spiritual understanding to understand that the Negroes are the true Jews of the KJV Bible, of the 1611 Bible, of the Bible period, of the Torah. We are the real Jews. I'm going to read first this section. You see this list? See if I can put it up. See this list here? Now, this is a list of all the Jews who were sent to different parts of the world in Europe during the Inquisition. And so it says here, the Jews' participation in the slave trade. Now, these were the Edomites, participation in the slave trade. Particularly, their trafficking in non-Jewish slaves. The non-Jewish slaves are actually the Jews. Incited the moral indignation of Europe's Gentile population. So those so-called Jewish people who had converted started calling the real Jews Gentiles. It reads, the Europeans reacted by taxing the Jews, and some were expelled from their host countries for this activity. The expulsion of the Jews by European governments were not unusual, with most of the complaints centered around economic exploitation, monopolizing, or sharp practice. By 1500s, with the exception of certain parts of Italy, Western Europe had closed its doors to Jewish people. The following listing is a partial record of the countries and dates of the Jews' expulsion from various European communities. Now, I'm going to read these. These aren't numbers of the population. They didn't have the numbers of the population, but they have the years. So it starts with Mainz, 1012, France, 1182, Upper Bavaria, 1276, England, 1290, France, 1306, France again, 1322, Saxony, 1349, Hungary, 1360, Belgium, 1370, Slovakia, 1380, France, 1394, Austria, 1420, Lyons, 1420, Cologne, 1424, Mainz, 1438, Augsburg, 1439. This is all in Europe. I mean, I'm running through Italy, I'm running through France, I'm running through England, Netherlands, I'm hitting them all. Upper Bavaria, 1442, Netherlands, 1444, Brandenburg, 1446, Mainz, 1462. Mainz again, that must have been a popular place where we were. Wow, Mainz, this is the fourth time, 1483. Warsaw, 1483, Spain, 1492, Italy, 1492. We're aware of those. Lithuania, 1495, Portugal, 1496, Naples, 1496, Navarre in Italy, 1498, Nuremberg, 1498, Brandenburg, 1510, Prussia, 1510, Genoa, 1515, Naples, Italy, 1533, Italy, 1540, Naples, 1541, Prague, 1541, Genoa, 1550, Bavaria, 1551, Prague, 1557, Papal States, 1569, Hungary, 1582. Hamburg, 1649. Vienna, 1669. Slovakia, 1744. Bohemia, Moravia, 1744. Moscow, 1891. Why am I saying all these dates? Because you need to know the dates that we were expelled or exposed out of these countries. Who knows? This might wake up somebody else to do research in one of these countries. That's why I went through each and every name. Never knows how the Most High Spirit works. It says, over the next centuries, the centers of Jewish development moved into the Western Hemisphere, where land and commercial opportunities provided the incentives for immigration. The open and ungoverned territory and the docile and vulnerable indigenous population were an irresistible attraction to the malign race. They acquired great wealth in their Caribbean and South American enterprises and eventually moved into the American Northeast, which became the economic focal point. It started with the forced expulsion of the Jews from the Spanish Empire and with the early explorer and discoverer of America, Christopher Columbus. So right there is telling you that the Papal Bull kicked in. We were expelled from all these countries in the European area after the time of Bouillon and the Khazars converted to being Jews. This took place. I'm going to drop down here. It says Columbus, Jews, and the slave trade. It says not jewels, but Jews were the real financial basis of the first expedition of Columbus. His mama didn't name him Jew. She named him Judah. On August 2nd, 1492, more than 300,000 Jews were expelled from Spain. And we know from records that it shows that in Spain, everyone thought that people from Spain and Portugal were dark black people. It says, ending their 5-century involvement in the black hostage trade in that region. See that? I'll stop right there. This is Nature Knows No Color Line, research into the Negro ancestry and the white race by J. Rogers. Published in 1952, or copyrighted 1952, page 123. It says, an interesting gradation of all shades down to the black is exhibited by the Jews, especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. The Portuguese Jews were very dark, says Pritchard. The Duchess of Duarte, wife of Napoleon, ambassador to Portugal, said that the Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese could be seen in a single person. So dark were the Jews, especially of Portugal and southern Spain, that many whites thought that all Jews were black or dark. So there were a lot of people that converted after we left to becoming Jewish. That all started in that area of Castilian, which they call Moranos, which Morano is the same thing as swine, or forbidden. They were forbidden to do what they did. Other word for it is conversos. All right, so a lot of those who stayed became what? Christians or slaves. This book is called A History of the Moranos by Cecil Roth. Cecil Roth. All right, and this is dealing with the expulsion of the Jews from Spain in 1492 to 1992. And this was published by Irene Roth in 1932. That's the copyright, 1932. Page 175. This is where the conversals came from, and a lot of those who claimed matriarch ancestry. As the earliest Inquisition period in Spain, we are informed how women comprised the vast majority of Jews who maintained their Judaism to the end and thus died the deaths of true martyrs. It is significant that women took a prominent part in initiation to Judaism in several known cases, showed an especial familiarity with the prayers, and were in some instances peculiarly meticulous in their observance. It was by the mothers and the wives that the Morano circle in Mexico in the first half of the 7th century was presided over and inspired. So the women who were in Spain and Portugal that ended up in Mexico were the real Jews, and the Edomites married these women, and their children, they called them Jews, which is false. It's the other way around. It's through the patriarch that the children are called Jews. I'm going to go to page 236. Page 236, and I'm going to start in the middle. I'll start at the first sentence. This is chapter 9, the Dutch Jerusalem. The Dutch Jerusalem. The settlement of the Moranos in the Low Countries, contrary to the general impression, goes back to a comparative early date. From the beginning of the 16th century, the region had been dynastically associated with Spain. This is why you have a lot of black Jews in the Dutch, the Netherlands, the low regions, low country regions. I'm going to drop down to where it says hence. Hence, they began to settle in the city at least as early as 1512 with the approach of persecution of Portugal in Portugal. The stream of migration increased. As we have seen, recent converts were forbidden to leave that country without special license. If the object of the journey were Turkey or some other Muslim country where the opportunity would certainly be taken to revert to Judaism, the requisite permission would unquestionably be refused. There was no escape for us. All right? You couldn't run to a Muslim country so you could practice, because the Muslims let you still practice what you believed in. You know? Let's drop down to the last paragraph. Thus, the immigration directed to Antwerp increased, and in 1526, new arrivals were empowered to remain in the city for a period not exceeding 30 days. Within that 30 days, they were hoping, the government was hoping that they would convert to Christianity. All right? Because they had a lot of good ideas. A lot of them were doctors. A lot of the Jews who were in Spain and Portugal were doctors, physicians. We were really smart. We were engineers. If you go to, where's that in Italy? You have Venice, you have, what's the one I'm trying to think of? Not Naples, Florence. If you go to Florence, if you go into Florence, you'll see all the buildings that was constructed. Well, we built those temples. We built those temples that's mind-blowing. If you see it firsthand, stand before one of the buildings, look at it, it'll blow your mind. You'll say to yourself, how in the world did they build this without all the equipment that we have today? Without all the equipment that we have today to build structures like this. I have another book. Definitely want to go into John Ogilvy, right? So that. Now I'm on page 574. 574. Now it says here, the Portuguese that dwelt on this island informed the Netherlands that few lived above 50 years there. Yet, notwithstanding the great gain tempted them to tarry, several of them having 200 or 300 Negroes that worked in the sugar mills. Now, this is a historical book. That John III, King of Portugal, sent a colony thither. above 200 years before. 200 years before what? That 200 years before is the times, the dates that I was giving you earlier. Whom though the unwholesome air destroyed, yet the place was not left desolate. For he sent new inhabitants who first settled in Guinea, next in Angola, and lastly on the island of St. Thomé. This is in West Africa. Where were they sent from? The Iberian Peninsula, from Europe, from Italy. That so they might be the better use to the air, that the said king sold all those Jews for slaves that refused to embrace the Roman religion. There it is. So he sold all those Jews for slaves. Where? In West Africa. Who refused to become Catholic. And caused their children to be baptized, from whom coming thither in great numbers. Most of the present inhabitants were descended. So they were descended from the Negroes, right? But they were Jews. This book is called Africa, being an accurate description of the regions, or Egypt, Barbaria, Libya, Billy Dogurits, the land of the Negroes, Guinea, Ethiopia, and the Abyssinians. Then he goes into more, like the coast, the lakes, the cities, and so forth. But I'm going to go straight to the point. All right. I'm going to go to page 34, which is 31 in this book. This is a reprint. It said, many Jews also are scattered over the regions. It says, many Jews also are scattered over the regions, some natives boasting themselves of Abraham's seeds, inhabiting both sides the river Niger. Others are Asian strangers, who fled thither either from the desolation of Jerusalem by Vespasian, or from Judea, wasted and depopulated by the Romans, Persians, Saracens, which are Muslims, and Christians, or else such as come out of Europe, whence they were banished. So we have two groups coming out of two different regions. First, in 70 AD, you had the Jews running out of that land into Africa from the Romans, Titus and Vespasian. And then almost 100 years later, almost 1,000 years later, you had the Jews coming from Europe. It says, out of some parts of Italy in the year 1342, out of Spain in the year 1461, out of the Low Countries in 1350, which is the Netherlands, out of France in 1403, out of England in 1422, these all differ in habit and are divided into several tribes, having no dominion, though both wealthy and numerous, but despised of all nations, just like the Bible says, and so abominated by the Turks, which are not our friends, which are Edomites and Ishmaelites, that they are not admitted to be Mohammedans unless first baptized, and then no otherwise made use of than to receive their customs and gather in their taxes. So even if you ran to the Muslim lands, you still had to participate in their customs and their taxes. So they wanted you to convert to being a Mohammedan, a Muslim. See that? So this is in this book. So we have valid proof to show you that our people were scattered all over the globe. All right? And what I'm saying to you is true and not a lie. Blacks in the Dutch World, Evolution of Racial Imagery in a Modern Society by Alison Blakely. popularization and standardization. As was the case with painting, the earliest, widest distributed prints and illustrations were those related to religion. A popular illustrated biblical history was that of Flavius Josephus, which was available in German and Dutch. It featured illustrations of distinctively black figures for the story of Moses and the Egyptian. Another biblical event with a black occasionally illustrated in various forms was the rescue of the prophet Jeremiah from a dungeon by the Ethiopian eunuch Ebed Melech. He is described in one print of this theme, captioned in Old Dutch as a Moor or Mormon, representing a slightly different art form. A remarkable 17th century woodcut from Ghent presents a tableau or tabloid of the Epiphany with one other Magi, black, in its three different scenes. The St. Nicholas legend was another religious theme frequently given expression on woodcuts. See Figure 79. St. Nicholas. Figure 79. St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas as a black man. These are Negroes in the Dutch world. Notice the type of dress attire. These are the obscenities that were in the Dutch world. Egyptian dress in the Dutch world. Those from Senegal in the Dutch world. Van Sahar in the Dutch world. Kaffirs. Hottentot in the Dutch world. These are the different types of Negroes and the dress attire from their regions in the Dutch world. These are all Jews. Notice the attire, the head coverings. Jerusalem. So I had to bring that out for you to see. So I got to bring out one more book. And here's another thing. Everyone who has done something to us or participated in our demise are going to pay. They're all going to pay. Now this is coming out of the book called Angels. Now this book is called Angels. You can purchase this on Amazon. It was printed in 2004. Copyright 2004. I don't know if you can see it. Now this is going into the pseudepigrapha, right? And this just got my eye when I read everything. Although I don't teach everything, I read everything. I mainly teach from the Bible, the Torah, the Tanakh, the Apocrypha of the 1611 King James with the 14 books in it. It's all about learning the law. David, King David, so forth. They had to all learn the law first. So that's why we go there. But I read other books. I study other books. And in the pseudepigrapha, it tells you here that on page 197, it says, Sariel tells Jacob that his name shall now be Israel. Who was Sariel? He was one of the mighty angels. He says the ladder represents this age, and its 12 steps are the periods of the age. The 24 faces are the kings of the ungodly nations of the age. So we got 12 in the Apocrypha with 2nd Ezra. He talks about the Greek and Roman kings. I think it's in chapter 12. It talks about the eagle, and it breaks down the rulers of the eagle. But in here it says 24 faces are the kings of the ungodly nations of the age. So the 12 more dominant kings throughout all those years came through. Sins of Jacob's grandsons will make the place desolate. Say it again. The sins of Jacob's grandsons will make the place desolate. A palace will be built. How is Jacob's grandsons going to make the place desolate? When you don't keep the laws, you don't get rain. You don't get blessings when you don't keep the Most High's laws. So this is why he gave us in Deuteronomy 28 the blessings and the curses. That's why it says, at this point we received the curse. It says the sins of Jacob's grandsons will make the place desolate. A palace will be built, a temple in the name of the Most High, but it will become deserted. This is what the Maccabees dealt with. The Most High will raise up kings from the grandsons of Jacob's brother Esau. This is when Esau came in, Herod and so forth, after the Maccabees. And they will receive the nobles of the tribes of the earth who will mistreat Jacob's descendants. And then Esau went throughout the earth and ruled over Jacob's seeds. Jacob's descendants will be exiled into slavery, which we were. That's what we've been going over. But the Most High will judge the people who enslaved them. The descendants will be released. Who enslaved us? Esau. Angels and archangels will hurl bolts of lightning before them for the sake of the salvation of Jacob's tribe. This is what we're seeing in the earth. That's why you see sharks down in Florida, sharks over in California, in areas that they normally don't be. That's why you see earthquakes. This is why you see things happening in the middle of the ocean that they don't really talk about. Hurricanes and tornadoes. Earthquakes in the land, all in America. Storms of all types of magnitudes. Okay? Droughts in Africa. Asia going through different things. Europe going through different things. They have a drought over there right now. Wars, rumors of wars. All this stuff is going on now because angels and archangels will hurl bolts of lightning before them for the sake of the salvation of Jacob's tribe. The Most High will grant his mercy upon them and fight on their behalf. He will punish the enslavers with famine, swarms of reptiles, and deadly things, and earthquakes and destruction. Jacob's children will walk in justice. This is us coming out of captivity. He says he's going to fight for us. This is why we've been going through these scriptures, because we are so close. We are so close. Right? And you have Esau telling on Esau. Let me get another book for you. Iron Curtain Over America by John Beatty. By John Beat. That's John Beat. As you can see, he is a Caucasian. He was a general. The author of The Iron Curtain Over America has written or collaborated on a dozen books. His texts have been used in more than 700 colleges and universities, and his historical novel, Swords in the Dawn, published originally in New York, had London and Australian editions, and was adopted for statewide use in public schools of Texas. His education, MA, University of Virginia, PhD, Columbus University, postgraduate study, University of This guy is highly decorated. Military intelligence services in World War II. Need I say more? Now he opens up calling these people Khazars. But I'm going to go straight to the main point. All right? Let's see if I can find it. Okay, I'm going to go to page 164. Page 164, it says, it is well to emphasize in this connection that the American sympathy for Jewish refugees, remember this is during World War II, so carefully whipped up in large segments of the press and the radio, is mostly unjustified as far as any hardship is concerned. Those refugees who arrived in Palestine were well armed or soon became well armed with weapons of Soviet or satellite origin, and were able to take care of themselves by killing native Arabs or expelling them from their homes. Those Judaized Khazars, I'll read it again, those Judaized Khazars arriving in the United States lost no time in forming an association of Jewish refugees and immigrants from Poland. New York Times, March 29, 1944, and I'm saying these things so you can see that this stuff was published way before I was even born. I wasn't born then. I wasn't even rolling the roll at that time. I was still swimming. It says, which at once began to exert active political pressure. It says, many refugees were well heeled with funds. So they got funded portable commodities or spoils from the lands of their origin. So all the stuff that happened in the so-called land of their origin, they got spoils from it. America got spoils from Europe. They got scientists. They got gold. That's why they got rich so quick. They took the gold that was over there. All right. It says many refugees were well heeled with funds, portable commodities, or spoils from the lands of their origin. For instance, an article by the Scripps Howard special writer Henry J. Taylor and an editorial in the Washington Daily News told of a cleanup by aliens, most of whom live in New York, of $800 million in profit on the New York Stock Exchange in the spring of 1945. They got the spoils from World War II, right? And they were brought over here to the Americas, and they just profited on every level. Now we, as Negroes and Native Americans, lost everything we had to enemies. They brought us over to the Americas. We were brought here by enemies. They went and took over the land. Why do you think we still haven't received what we've built? Because they took everything that we built. The enemy, we haven't had a chance to go after the enemies. This is why the Most High is going to give us everything. He's going to give us everything because we have not been treated fairly. We haven't received reparations, nothing. Spoils of the land are going to come after Esau goes down. We're going to get it from everywhere. I'm going to start at for instance. For instance, an article by the Scripps Howard special writer Henry J. Taylor and an editorial in the Washington Daily News, July 18, 1945, told of a cleanup by aliens, most of whom live in New York, of $800 million in profit on the New York Stock Exchange in the spring of 1945. So the people that came here from different places, these Khazars, they got over 800 million plus. This is what's recorded. I'm sure it was way more than this. To say nothing of real estate investments, commodity speculations, and private side deals with no capital gains tax because of their favored status as aliens. So that's not even included in the 800 million. The real estate investments, commodity speculations, and private side. They was trying to figure out what to do with their money at that point. This is why you had Cecil, what's his name, the producer that did 10 Commandments. That's why he was able to do movies. They had received so much money, they didn't know what to do with it. The Congress soon passed legislation designed to plug such loopholes in our tax laws. But the politically favored alien remains a problem in the field of tax collection. Look at that. They're still favored in the arena of tax. They're still favored in the arena of taxes. In 1951, for instance, patriotic U.S. Customs Service officials detected several hundred thousands of dollars worth of diamonds in the hollow shoe hills, and in the hollow luggage frames of a group of refugees. These guys had diamonds in their luggage. Originally, where did these diamonds and things like that come from? It came from the actual Jews who were in that land that were expelled out of that land and went into West Africa. So they took all our stuff, and then they came over here and they got even more, which is all our stuff. In one way or another, the average arriving refugee is, in a matter of months or in a few years at most, far better off economically than millions of Native Americans whose relative status is lowered by the new aliens above them. Aliens for whom, in many instances, Native Americans perform menial work, meaning they are slaves under these people as well. This aspect of immigration has long bothered American-minded members of Congress. A report of the House Committee on Immigration and Naturalization of the 68th Congress, 1924, expressed the following prints. All right, we can stop there, but we know that they ain't favoring the natives, or even us being natives. So as you can see, that don't fit the prophecy that we read in 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 57. All right. Let's go back, 2 Ezra 6 and 57. And now, O power, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, from thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten have, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. Menial work. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? See that? Goes hand in hand what we were just talking about. Hand in hand. So, wake up and smell the coffee, people. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. The Most High is going to give us everything back. Even the nations are going to be serving us. They're going into captivity. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Most High. Because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. And that's what they say today. Well, who is Zion? Zion is a people before it's a place. Let's go to Joel. Joel chapter 3. Joel chapter 3, verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, and for my heritage, Yasharallah, whom they have scattered among the nations, and parted my land. See that? They parted the land and scattered us amongst the nations. So we got payback coming. The Most High is not going to let that go unturned. We got payback coming. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Now, when the Most High comes back, when he sends Yahushua back, that we read in 2 Thessalonians, or the 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, he says, with the shout of a trumpet, when we hear that shout, and the dead will rise first in Hamashiach, and those who are living will also rise, that believed in Hamashiach. What about the people that are still on the earth? What's going to happen to them that are still living? They're going to serve captivity. They're going to serve captivity. They're not going back to the Hamashiach to receive that spiritual power. They're going to serve captivity. Somebody has to do it. He has to show us what's coming back for us. He has to show us that the natural order of payback, what goes up must come down. That's the natural order. Scientific fact that if you use up too much of something, there's nothing. They have used up everything. So everything that they have has to go back to us, or there's nothing. So he's going to watch us get everything back. Joel chapter 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. George Washington did this very thing. Yea, and it was documented. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, the Africans? Or come, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine, will ye render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return your recompense upon your own head. Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried it into your temples, my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their borders. So this started with the beginning of the Edomite kingdoms, the Greeks, which we read in 1 Maccabees chapter 1. We'll go there in a second. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for the Most High have spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up, because the Most High going to drag them in to fight against it, the 144,000. Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 7. Book of Daniel, chapter 7. Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. That's the Most High, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So he had a body, he had hair, he had color to his body. It says, a fierce stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him. He had millions of angels in front of him. And 10,000 times 10,000s stood before him. The judgment was set and the books were opened. He had millions of angels in front of him testifying to him. And he's hearing every one of them. Can you do that? Can you hear 10 people in a room talking about different things at one time? Every single word? The Most High is omnipotent. He's able to hear every single testimony. And there's order, and everything must be done in order when you stand before the Most High. But the Most High has order. He's able to hear all these testimonies at once. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spoke, I beheld even till the beast was slain, who are the beasts, the 4 beasts, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. So the Most High already saw the vision. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came. Who's this? This is Yahweh Shai, the Hamashiach. This is way before the Gospels. All right, Daniel saw. I saw the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. Who are the clouds of heaven? Those are the angels with him. And they brought him near before him. So he had angels bring him before the Father. Those are the clouds. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So he has all power over everything, Yahweh Shai. All power. Go to Colossians. Colossians chapter 1, verse 15. Colossians 1 and 15. It reads, who is the image of the invisible power, the firstborn of every creature. Who is this? Yahweh Shai. For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have the preeminence. For it pleased the Father that in him should all fullness dwell. See that? So the Father gave him all power over everything. Let's go back to Daniel chapter 7, verse 14. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall rise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So this is what's going to happen. We're going to take the kingdom back. Then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass. Now, there's no animal that has iron teeth on this earth. So he's talking about men with their iron inventions, tanks, missiles, guns, weapons, and his nails of brass, which devoured broken pieces and stomped the residue with his feet. So what is this right here that came out of the earth? Let's go to 2 Ezra. 2 Ezra chapter 11, verse 39. 2 Ezra 11, verse 39. Art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the fourth came, and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, for thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable. Who are the peaceable? The 12 tribes of Israel. Thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. We never did any harm to them. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. The highest also have looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from the violence, that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. See that? So Daniel saw all of these things, but did not understand the fourth beast, because if you go to 2 Ezra chapter 12, verse 11, it says, the eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. The sea also means the earth, which is where the people dwell, right? The sea is also similar to for people, similar to for earth. But it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare it unto you. See that? So he declared the fourth beast to Ezra. It says, behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon the earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. Right? Now let's go back to Daniel. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, And of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spoke very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Now, it's talking about the 10 horns, right? So the 10 horns are 10 nations or common markets. You have Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Denmark, Ireland, the UK, and Greece. This makes up the EU and NATO. Now the 7 great empires are Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, and Great Britain. So now when you read this, you should know who the 10 horns, which represent the 10 common markets, or the 10 nations, right? Now there's way more nations that are involved with the common markets, but these are the top heads. Verse 21, Daniel 7 and 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. What does that mean, that he beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints? That's those 100 keys that we was talking about earlier. Those 100 keys were locked in the prison. As soon as we get rid of one key, here come another key. So he made war with the saints and prevailed against us, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. So who's going to get judged first? The saints. The judgment starts with the house of Israel. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Now those 12 kings go right behind the Roman Caesars, what we read in the book of the Encyclopedia of Angels. He said 24 kings. All right? So this is the other part of the kings here. 10 plus 2 more. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, which they have done here in this country. Change times, and they keep changing laws. It's always, the laws are always being amended in this country. They're not perfect like the Most High with his laws. They don't have to change. But they keep amending laws, changing laws to fit their narrative. And they shall be given into his hand until a times and dividing of time. What is that changing of laws? Let me give you an example. For example, down there in the Bible Belt, now they want to change the laws back to what it was. They don't want female pastors, because they said if we continue to hire female pastors, they're going to start pulling rank like they are in the northern states. They're going to start hiring transgenders. Then the transgenders are going to end up becoming pastors. Then they're going to have same-sex marriages. And the whole church is going to be out of order. So they keep changing these laws to implement new laws. They keep changing the times. Verse 26. A kingdom that is divided amongst itself cannot stand. Verse 26. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. So Daniel saw prophecies, Ezra saw prophecies, Moses saw prophecies, Isaiah, Habakkuk, they all saw all these prophecies. And when you sum it all up, we are so close. We are so close. I want to take you to 1 Maccabees in Apocrypha real quick. First Maccabees. This is the beginning of the evils. Now, in Joel, it says that we were sold to the Grecians. If you look at First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes. And he reigned in his stead." That was another beast that fell, Persians and Medes. "That he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece." This is the third beast, Greece. "And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth." Evils came in the earth. This is the third beast. "And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host. And ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive." Verse 7, "So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and the servants bare rule every one in his place." When he said that in Daniel, that he shall rule, but he shall be broken down without hand, that was Alexander the Greek. He was broken without hand. A disease took him out. He was broken. That's a prophecy. It came to pass. "And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth." So this is when the evils came into the earth. "And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks."
The boy's in heaven?
Yes.
His mother has more backbone than I do.
She's in the crypt and will not come out.
Have the Templars killed Bailey?
Yes. Then, give me a war.
That is what I do.
This is why Donald Trump could get convicted and get out of this conviction and run as president again. They're doing the same thing that the Greeks did, changing times and laws. It's the same thing over and over. We say, wow, he was convicted, he was thrown in jail, and they let him out to be a leader again? We can't do that because we are the trodden. We are the Israelites. We can't do it, but they can. This is their world. "In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow." So they all went to be a part of this wicked kingdom, like we read earlier in this class. They put their trust in Pharaoh. They put their trust in the shadow of Egypt. Let's go to Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8, verse 23. "And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up." This is Alexander the Greek. "And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, took out the kings of the earth, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people." This is when we got destroyed. "And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand." See? Alexander the Greek. Even Ptolemy got broken without hand. A disease took him out. King Herod got destroyed without hand. Let's go to First Maccabees. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41. First Maccabees 1 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. This is when the holy people got destroyed. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yes, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbaths. So many Israelites fell. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, and they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. Now he changed the laws there. When we read earlier about in John Ogilvie's book called Africa, he said that there were many Jews dwelling in West Africa who fled during 70 AD from Vespasian and Titus, which came after the Greeks. But from that time of the Greeks to that time of them being scattered from the Romans, a lot of them forgot the laws. A lot of them forgot the understanding. So when they went into West Africa, they was really destroyed. Right? They held fast to what they understood only. But a lot of them had the thought process of the Greeks and the Romans. Verse 49, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandments of the king, he said he should die. In the self same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanded the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, Africa, Asia, even wheresoever they could flee for succor. See that? So we were scattered throughout all the lands that people don't think that we were scattered to. Paul could only do so much. He went towards Europe, right? He went towards Spain and Italy and Portugal and Greece. But a lot of our people were scattered down in Africa too. This is why you had Simon, who they called Niger, come out of Libya, right? Or Cyrene. Let's go to the book of Hosea. Hosea chapter 6, verse 2. I'll start at 1. It says, come and let us return unto the Most High, for he hath torn, and he will heal us. He hath smitten, and he will bind us up. So we're supposed to return to the Father, because all of our people have been downtrodden, destroyed for lack of knowledge. Verse 2, after 2 days will he revive us. In the third day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. So 2 days have passed already. Hamashiach was crucified in the early years of, what, they say 30 AD? He was crucified. 30 AD. So after 2 days will he revive us. In the third day he will raise us up. So it's been 2,000 years since Yahushua died on the tree and resurrected. So it was like the scripture says, the formula is in Peter's, 1 day with the Most High is like 1,000 years. So 1,000 years, 2,000 years have passed, 2 days. We are now in the third day. We are now in the third day, the early morning. The early morning of the third day we are now in. After 2 days will he revive us. In the third day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know the Most High. We know the Most High always comes in the dew of the morning. All right, we walked in the Garden of Eden in the dew of the morning. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know the Most High, his going forth is prepared as the morning, and he shall come unto us as the rain, as the latter and former rain unto the earth. So he's going to come and raise us up. O Ephraim, what shall I do unto you? O Judah, what shall I do unto you? So he's talking about the house of Judah and the house of Ephraim, which is the northern and southern kingdoms of the Israelites. It says, for your goodness is as a morning cloud, and as the early dew, it goeth away. So he's going to come to his prophets, his people in the early morning. He will return in this vision. He's going to return with this vision. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew 24. And let's start at verse 29. Matthew 24 and 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. He said that we were scattered, and the keys also scattered in that book that we read about the pearls of America. Now learn a parable. So let's go from there. Let's jump over to Matthew 25 and 31. Matthew 25 and 31. These are prophecies. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him. Remember in Daniel chapter 7, he appeared with the clouds to the Most High. They brought him forward. And he received all what? Power from the Most High. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Who are the sheep? The lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is who the message was given to. The lost sheep of the house of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. What's going to happen to the rest of them? He's going to tell you. Because if he's going to take those sheep that are on his right hand, what's going to happen to the goats on his left? What's going to happen to the goats? Somebody's calling me, telling me not to tell you by calling me right now at this very moment. But I'm going to tell you. Let's find out. 2nd Ezra chapter 13. People never talk about that part, but let's find out. 2nd Ezra 13 and 49. Now when he destroyeth the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, so he's going to destroy those nations, he shall defend his people that remain. So he's going to destroy the nations that are gathered. And then shall he show them great wonders. Those on his right hand are going to see great wonders. Then said I, O power that bearest rule, show me this. Wherefore have I seen the man coming up from the midst of the sea? Coming out the earth is Yahushua. And he said unto me, like as thou canst neither seek out nor know the things that are in the deep of the sea, even so can no man upon earth see my son, or those that be with him, but in the daytime. This is the interpretation of the dream which thou sawest, and whereby thou only art here lightened. For thou hast forsaken thine own way, and applied thy diligence unto my law, and sought it. Thy life hast thou ordered in wisdom, and hast called understanding thy mother. And therefore have I showed thee the treasures of the highest. After other 3 days I will speak other things unto thee, and declare unto thee mighty and wondrous things. So there you have it. These are things that are to come, because we are so close. All praises to the Most High. Ba'ashem HaMashiach Yahushua. I hope this was a blessing to you, and I hope that you can replay it, send it to others, so they can learn from this message. And with that, I'm Shemai One. I'm going to say Shalom to Yasharallah. All praises to the Most High and all those who are listening.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.